Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I was just signing a copy of my book, hoping to sell a lot of them. After all, today was a pretty monumental day as I crossed over the $25,000 mark in my small account. Now, as many of you guys know, I started that account with $583 on January 1st, and as of today, I'm up to over $35,000 in just 22 days of trading. It's pretty crazy. So, how did I do it? Well, let's break down today, the biggest day of them all, in today's midday market recap.
All right, guys. So, in all seriousness, today really is a pretty big day. This is the day that I'm crossing over $25,000. That's the kind of, line in the sand that once you're above that level, you can open an account with a U.S. broker like E-Trade or Ameritrade and day trade. When you're below that level, you're forced to trade, in the Bahamas where I've been trading at SureTrader. There's a couple other places you could trade as well, but you're really limited. So, today, crossing over that level, it means that I can now move this money and this account back into the States. And when I first started this account on January 1st, and the first day of the year was for trading was, I think it was January 3rd, this was something I was really nervous about. I was nervous for a couple reasons. Number one, I wasn't sure how well I was going to be able to trade because even though December was good, I'd been seeing kind of a decline in profits from the big month that I had in June. June was my best month of the year in 2016, and I was like making less and less and less each month until that finally increased, I think, in November and December. So I wasn't sure how I would do. The market had been a little tricky around the holidays, and I was also nervous because I was going to have everyone watching me. This wasn't something that was just a personal challenge. This was a very public challenge. And initially I said, well, maybe you shouldn't even set a goal because then you're locking yourself into, this level of performance. Just say you're doing this challenge of growing a small account. Don't put any benchmarks on it. But the reality is, I had a very clear goal in my mind. It was to hit $25,000. And then early on, I decided to say that my goal was 100,000. So I decided to one up myself and bring the challenge, up to that level, which I don't know why I did that, but I guess because I made 222,000 last year, I figured this year, if I can make half that amount of money with the small account, that would be fantastic. And that's true. So here we are today, day 22, and absolutely the biggest day of the year in the small account, $14,805.86. It's crazy. Now, on top of that, I also traded in my regular account today. I only made 7,700, which means I have a combined profit of over $22,000 today. Think about that. That is crazy to do that in 2 hours. So to get to the point where you can trade, and generate these types of returns is obviously something that I've been working towards really my entire career as a trader. And this month, although I don't think I expected to hit my peak performance, I have. Last month I did $55,000, and then on the last day of the month, on Tuesday, I lost 13,000. So I finished the month up 42,000, and now already for the month of February, 2 days in, I'm up $29,000. So up over 70,000, 75,000 on the year, and I'm really, tracking well towards this goal. So what did I do today that gave me the $14,000 in profits? Well, I will say that my trades today were more aggressive because I'm in the shadow of that big red day on Tuesday. And that red day upset me more than I thought it would. I was really kind of like moping around that whole day. I was just like, oh, God, I'm so frustrated with myself. Why did I do that? Losing $13,000 in a single day was my worst day that was worse than any of my days in 2016. And of course, to do it so publicly and a small account, it just felt really embarrassing. And I was really frustrated with myself. And so on Wednesday, I came back and I was like, okay, on the one hand, I want to make back everything I lost yesterday today. On the other hand, that's probably not going to happen. And when you think like that, usually you end up getting emotional and making mistakes, taking risky trades. So I said, you know what, just trade smart. If you see an A quality setup, jump on it. And if you don't, then just sit tight. Well, I saw a good setup and I made about $4,500. So I was like, okay, I'm digging my way out. I made back some of the loss. And then today, I think I came into the market with that same mindset of let's finish up this week strong. I was up to about 21,000 or $20,949, which you can see right here this morning. So I was like, 22,000 is where I was at after my big day on Monday. Monday I made 16,000. Tuesday I lost 13,000. Wednesday I made back 4,000 in my small account plus 2,000 in my big account, so back up 16 or back up 6,000. And now today up 22,000. And I came into today wanting to be aggressive, wanting to find a stock I could really sink my teeth into and generate a big win. I was disappointed when I didn't see anything that looked good on the high day momentum or on the gap scanner pre-market. I was looking at what was gapping up, and we had XGTI. XGTI was on the scanner, but with that one, we already had like 600,000 shares of volume pre-market. And I said, I like it possibly over or out of this pre-market kind of consolidation. But, as soon as the bell rang, it kind of just felt too risky. And I decided to pass on this one. And instead, I jumped into PULM, PULM. This one was a lot like RGSC on Tuesday, where I lost $13,000. So I was kind of nervous on my first trade on it, and I jumped in with 7,500 shares. It kind of dropped down for a second, and I was like, this is going to be bad. It popped up. I was up 10 cents, and I was like, that's it. I'm done taking the profit. $750. And look, most traders would be happy with $750. But when you're coming off of a $13,000 loss, $750 is nothing. It doesn't even get you close to where you want to be. So I was like, all right, what's next? And I'm watching the high day scanner. And let's see, the next one that popped up, we had, I think it was BNTC. BNTC hit the high day scanner earlier this morning. And when I saw it, I right away was like, that name is familiar. Why is that name familiar? That stock is a former runner. Actually, sorry. NAKD was the one I jumped in, and then BNTC was after that. NAKD, I'll go back to that one first. This one started popping up on the high day scanner. You can see how it started to squeeze. And on this one, I looked at it, and I saw it pop up to a high of 160. And I thought, that's kind of an issue because we're right at the 200 moving average, which is at 162, this purple line on the 5-minute chart. So I was like, this might be an issue. But I waited for this to pull back. We had the spike of volume here. I waited for it to pull back. And as we broke over 160, I decided to jump in. I jumped in, and we popped from 160 up to 197. So 30 cents. And on that one, I was able to generate a pretty quick profit. So nice pop there, and then look what we got on this one. Pullback, consolidation, down to the moving average, and right here, first candle to make a new high, entry being right at 75. You got clean resolution, 50 cents. And 50 cents on a $1.70 stock is really an impressive move. So really clean resolution there. But in total, I was only able to make $2,500 on it. So, it was, again, a good trade, obviously a good trade, but not, not the best ever and not as much as I maybe wanted. So NAKD, couple really nice clean opportunities there. The first scalp into the spike, and then the first pullback, first 5-minute candle to make a new high. So at this point, we had PULM still running. PULM was surging up, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have to watch this one for the first pullback. I obviously sold it way too soon, and it's really strong. And I did end up buying right here. I'll just cover this right now. So on this one, you can see the high of this 5-minute candle was 551. As that broke, I jumped in 5,000 shares, and I rode that all the way up here. I sold the top at 605, having no idea it would go as high as 676. So on that one, I booked a total profit of $2,200, and then I ended up losing 750 on this trade right here, where you see that it dipped down. So I got back in for the first 5-minute candle to make a new high, but when I got in there, I got faked out a little bit. I wasn't expecting that it would drop down before it popped up. So you can see here, this red candle is the one that faked me out. It popped up and then it dropped down, and I was down 15 cents. I literally sold at 635, the low of that candle. Kind of depressing. And that was actually my final trade of the day. So, like many of my green days, I ended on a red note, which is very irritating. I was up 15,500 in this small account and ended up giving back. So, even on a great day, I still end up ending with a loser, which is annoying. But in any case, the best setup here was this 5-minute pullback. Super clean, super easy opportunity. And I wanted to take more size on it, but it just moved too fast, so I only had 5,000 shares. But having faith in these 5-minute setups is important, knowing that this is where traders look for an opportunity to get into a strong stock. So this was PULM. Now, meanwhile, BNTC started popping up. And this one I jumped into as well, because when I looked at the daily chart, just like NAKD, I was like, this has big potential. We're breaking over the 200 moving average. It's a former runner, a history of making big moves. I'm going to jump in it. So I jumped in this right at 250. As we started to spike up, it was halted. Then it popped up to a high of 337, 374, and then we got the pullback. And look what happened out of the first pullback. Right here, out of the first pullback, we got that clean break. First 5-minute candle to make a new high, and the spike up to a high of 433. And then look what happens again. Second pullback, another clean spike. And that shows you that these are the lowest risk opportunities to get into a strong stock. Getting in when a stock is first spiking, when it's on the high day scanner and squeezing up, is fine. It's risky, and there's more risk there. The reason I do that is because of the fact that there have been so many times where I saw a stock hitting the high day scanner and I wanted to get in it, but it ended up spiking straight up and then coming back down and going, just basically went parabolic and then back to 0 to 60 and then 60 to 0, like that. And you don't get a clean 5-minute setup. And that's exactly what happened on RGSE on Monday. Now, because I was aggressive on RGSE and I jumped in based on the 1-minute chart, I was able to make $16,000. But if I had been waiting for, let's say the first pullback, I wouldn't have had an opportunity because there was not a first pullback. All right, and on BNTC, in total, I made, let's see, let me pull this over here. Total profits on the name, $3,877. So really solid trade on that. And then we have the biggest win of the day, APOP. And this is one that it hit the high day scanner. So let's see, high day scanner, we have NAKD, and then we'll have BNTC pop up here. We have PULM still on there. BNTC's up there. We jump in. We see it at 212. It's spiking up. It's up 32%. So I see volumes coming into it. I pull up to level 2. Traders are buying. I jump in. Remember, these are the same scanners used by tens of thousands of traders all around the world. This is the platform that powers the E-Trade scanners. A lot of people sign up on their own to trade ideas. It's also used in Scottrade. So this is a very widely used platform for finding stocks that are moving quickly. All right, so BNTC, then PULM, and then comes APOP. Where is it? Let's see, scroll up a little further. APOP. So we've got 387. Let's see. Now, when I jumped in APOP, someone in the room said, hey, look, APOP, it's starting to move. And I was jumped in. I looked at it. I saw it on the high day scanner. We have a high here of, let's see, 424. So where was this? APOP at 387. And then I think we got another alert on this. Where was it? 404 and 417 and 410. When I saw that, I looked at it. I looked at the chart and I said, this is a former runner. a stock with a history of making a big move. Just the other day, we had a big move on it. Now, the problem on this day is that it squeezed up from $4 to $8, up over 100%, but it retraced almost the whole move. And I was concerned that might happen with APOP again. So I jumped in here, we squeezed up to 431, and I was able to get filled 6,000 shares in this one candle. This candle had 25,000 shares of volume, so not a lot of traders were able to get into this trade. It was very quick, a short opportunity. Well, it reopens, resumes, we squeeze up to a high of 524, and then all the way up to 571. And this was kind of like that trade we had earlier this year on DFFN, where it gapped up points. And I don't know why stocks sometimes do this. A lot of times, I was expecting this would open maybe around 412, and then I would buy it over 430. Or if it opened above 430, I would add over 450. It ended up opening really high. I decided to add anyways at I added it, at 520. So I added kind of high at 520, and it spikes up to a high of 571, and I was like, that's it, I'm booking profits. I sell, and interestingly, my entire short trader position gets taken out in the 70s and in the 50s. Let me just look at my fills here. I filled, it's just really interesting where that filled. Up at 52, 72, and 55. Meanwhile, I was also holding the position in my regular speed trader account, and when I pressed the sell button, I got filled at 512. So, this was a stock that was popping up and then very quickly turned around. Sometimes what we see is that when stocks are coming off of lows and squeezing up, there are sellers stacked up in there who have put out orders to get out break even because they're holding from one of these red days, or one of these days where we sold off quite a bit. And although I don't know if that's what happened, the fact remains that this was not able to hold those levels. So what was different about APOP from BNTC, NAKD, or PULM? All four of them were on the scanners. All four had similar charts. PULM's a little different, but they had fairly similar charts. We can look at another one here, MYOS, another kind of similar chart where we got that breakout a couple days ago. And some of them end up really working well, where you have BNTC that's gone all the way back up to 450. Now, and then others end up just fading. BNTC did have a headline this morning, although it wasn't a headline that I would consider to appear especially powerful. NAKD, this is another one, also even still running now. I mean, it still has strength. But then on this day back here, we gapped up, we squeezed up, and then we rolled over completely. So this is the challenge as traders is when is the stock going to go 300, 400%, and when is it going to go up 100% and then turn around hard? And the answer is that we don't always know, but we can predict stocks will be stronger when they have a strong catalyst, like breaking news. But when I first see a stock hit these scanners, I don't know what it has, and I jump in it anyways because I don't always have time to go search the news. BNTC, I jumped into it, and then I searched and saw the news. Same with APOP. I jump into it, I search, I don't see news, and I'm like, this might be a problem. Same with NAKD. But I jump in because I see it on the scanners, and I know so many traders using these same scanners are clamoring for that entry. They want to get their entry. Now, the strongest stocks will give us a clean pullback, the way we saw on NAKD here, the way we saw on PULM right here, and the way we saw on BNTC right in here. So if you're a beginner trader, if you're not able to get in on these 1-minute setups and be really aggressive and be really quick, that's okay. The safest place to enter is on the 5-minute setup, on the first pullback. The only problem is that sometimes you have stocks like RGSC on Monday where they go parabolic, and I'll show you this chart here. We go from from 350 to $6 without pulling back. And this right here was an opportunity to make $16,000. And if this had given me the first pullback, first candle to make a new high, maybe I could have made $22,000 or more on Monday. But for whatever reason, this one went parabolic and then just came back down. So as traders, we have to be focused on the technicals. even though we check the fundamentals, and maybe we look to see if there's breaking news, at the end of the day, we have to focus on technicals because sometimes stocks will be strong even though there's no news whatsoever, like DRYS when it went from $4 to $100 on this day, or GLBS in all these days where it was squeezing and it was just ridiculously strong, right? And there's a million stocks like this. SAEX is another one. Just had a couple days where we went totally parabolic from $4 to $60 or $70. So we trade the chart, and if the chart shows strong daily, no nearby resistance, if the stock is on the scanners, if we're seeing volume come into the name, then there's an opportunity. Some of them are short-lived, others are sustained through the entire day, and sometimes like PULM for multiple days because PULM was really strong yesterday. So today's a day where I really I stepped up to the plate. I saw 4 different setups that all had several things in common. Similar float, similar amounts of volume coming into the name on the same scanners, all with reasonable daily charts, and I jumped in. Some of them worked really well, others worked not as well. But at the end of the day, I'm walking out with almost $15,000 in profit. So I know there's traders out there who are regularly making $30,000, $40,000 on really good days. And I've never been that type of trader, but in the last few weeks, in the last month, I've started taking larger position sizes. And then when the right setups come to me, I'm there ready to really capitalize on them. So, today with $14,800, my small account has taken a big leap forward, growing by 75% in one day. And tomorrow I'll open around 35,000, right around $35,000, which is crazy. It really is quite something. So that puts me 35% of the way to my $100,000 challenge, and I'm definitely excited to get there as quickly as I can because once I'm there, I will have reached my next milestone, and I can't wait to celebrate that. So, at this rate, it may not take that long, but we'll see. There may be periods of slow trading where I have days or even weeks that I can barely even make $1,000. I've had that before. I definitely had that several times in 2016. So I expect it will happen in 2017. I just don't know when. But as long as we have strength, I'll be aggressive. And one of the things that you'll notice is that when trading is strong, traders get more aggressive. Collectively, we all get more aggressive because we recognize this kind of feeding frenzy that's happening, all this profit potential, all these stocks that are going parabolic. So it happens to one, then it happens to the next. And then the third one that starts to pop up, traders are like, well, I missed the first one. I missed the second one. Not today. I'm not missing the third one. They jump in the third one with even bigger size. You multiply that mentality over thousands and thousands of traders around the world, and that's when you start to get these really profound hot streaks that just you get a lot of action. So we'll get the hot streaks until we have a couple of stocks that just totally fake us all out, and we'll take some good sized losses on them, and it's going to scare people a little bit. So fear and greed, those are the 2 big emotions that traders talk about a lot. When there's opportunity, we get aggressive. If you want to call it greed, it's learning to capitalize when the market is strong. And then when we start to see weakness, we get scared, we get fearful, we reduce our position sizes, we get out of the way. So do other traders, and you see less volume on the breakout. So it's very cyclical the way this works. And right now we're in a pretty awesome hot streak for the month of January, continuing into February. And I'm hoping that it can, it can keep up. At this point, I've already built a fantastic cushion on the year with $70,000 plus. So I have the cushion. If it slows down tomorrow, that's fine. I hit my first target in the small accounts, and I'll feel good about that. So, we'll just take it one day at a time. But today was a day that I was able to really maximize on the opportunities. And so I feel good about that. I know there'll be traders out there that made more than me today. I'm not going to say I'm the best trader out there. I'm not. But I have learned that when you find momentum and you jump on it, you can make some good money. So That's what I did today, and it worked out really well. All right, guys. So that's it for my midday market recap, and I will see you all first thing tomorrow morning. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, and for those of you that are on Facebook, check us out on Facebook. I go on Facebook Live almost every day at lunchtime to do my midday market recap. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you all soon.